Three countries, three militaries, three very different ambitions, now moving in the same direction. Turkey, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia. Behind closed doors, the defense arrangement is taking shape that borrows its most dangerous idea from NATO itself: collective war. An attack on one treated as an attack on all. But as this alignment gathers momentum, the implications are not limited to Ankara, Riyadh, or Islamabad. For India, this moment carries far bigger consequences: strategic, military, and geopolitical. So is New Delhi ready for the challenges this emerging triad could pose? Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. Turkey is once again repositioning itself, not as a bridge between the East and the West, but as a power center in its own right. This time, the signal is coming from West Asia and South Asia together. Ankara is in advanced talks to join a Pakistan-Saudi Arabia defense pact that mirrors NATO's collective defense clause. Some are calling it a Muslim NATO. Others see it as posturing. But for India, the question is sharper and more urgent. Is this just diplomatic signaling or the emergence of a new security axis that could complicate India's strategic environment? According to Bloomberg, Turkey's negotiations to join the Strategic Mutual Defense Agreement between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia have progressed significantly. This is not a loose consultative forum. The agreement contains a clause strikingly similar to NATO's Article 5. An attack on one is an attack on all. If Turkey formally enters, a bilateral pact becomes a trilateral military framework combining Pakistan's nuclear deterrent, Saudi Arabia's financial power, and Turkey's military-industrial base.
Well, Turkey is trying to create an alternate Islamic NATO with Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. It's got a system of convergence of interests with Pakistan and Saudi Arabia and of course Qatar. These are all Sunni Islamic states in West Asia, and Turkey has of course signaled its proximity to Pakistan during the Operation Sindoor during 2025. So this is very clearly one step forward that it's taking to operationalize this convergence of interests with Pakistan and Saudi Arabia.
At first glance, this sounds dramatic. A so-called Islamic NATO stretching from Anatolia to Arabian Peninsula to South Asia. But geopolitics is not about labels. It is about capability, intent, and alignment. And this is where India must look beyond headlines and ask what has actually changed and what has not. Let's begin with the core of this arrangement. Pakistan and Saudi Arabia signed the Strategic Mutual Defense Agreement in 2025. Its full terms are not public, but reporting suggests that Pakistan's nuclear capability could factor into Saudi defense planning if required. That alone raised eyebrows across capitals, from Tel Aviv to New Delhi. Turkey's possible entry raises the stakes further because Ankara is not just another regional player. It is NATO's second largest military contributor after the United States. Turkey's military is large, experienced, and increasingly autonomous. Over the last decade, Ankara has invested heavily in indigenous defense production, drones, naval platforms, missiles, and electronic warfare systems. More importantly, for India, Turkey has not kept its Pakistan policy ambiguous. During the 4-day military confrontation in May 2025, that's Operation Sindoor, Turkey was not a distant observer, it was an active enabler. Turkey supplied Pakistan with hundreds of drones and loitering munitions, including Bayraktar's TB2s and Yeeha platforms, along with trained personnel. These were deployed against Indian positions. Indian intelligence sources later confirmed that 2 Turkish operatives were killed during the operation. Ankara also sent a naval warship to Karachi and flew in a C-130 military transport aircraft in the lead-up to the conflict. This is a critical detail. Turkey is not a hypothetical future partner of Pakistan. It is already embedded in Pakistan's military ecosystem. Defense ties between Ankara and Islamabad have deepened across domains: naval shipbuilding, air force upgrades, training, and joint production. Turkish shipyards are helping Pakistan build Babur-class corvettes based on the Milgem design, that is Turkish multi-purpose frigates. Turkish aerospace industries is upgrading Pakistan's F-16 fleet, extending their operational life. In other words, Turkey is not just politically aligned with Pakistan, it is operationally invested. And that changes how India must interpret Ankara's entry into any collective defense framework involving Pakistan.
That's an interesting point. Will a NATO kind of an attack on one constitutes an attack on other? Would that kind of a pact work in this case? Well, it's clearly, it remains to be seen whether this kind of a clause is going to be binding in this agreement. Well, we've already seen Turkey participating in Operation Sindoor quite actively with hardware, military hardware, drones and personnel assisting Pakistan. But it remains to be seen whether Saudi Arabia would actually commit troops on the ground, equipment to help Pakistan against India, given how close Saudi-India ties have been in recent years.
But what about Saudi Arabia? Riyadh has historically maintained balanced relations with India and Pakistan, even when Islamabad attempted to internationalize the issue of Kashmir. So why this defense pact now? And why Turkey? The answer lies in shifting global guarantees. Saudi Arabia no longer assumes that American military protection is unconditional or even permanent. Washington's priorities are moving. Its appetite for unconditional assistance is shrinking. Regional powers are hedging, building parallel security arrangements that reduce dependence on the United States of America. For Saudi Arabia, Pakistan offers a ready-made military partner with a nuclear umbrella. For Turkey, Saudi Arabia offers financial depth and strategic reach into West Asia and even Africa. For Pakistan, this framework offers something it has long sought: political backing and military partnerships that dilute India's diplomatic advantage. Together, the triad blends complementary strengths. Turkey brings combat experience and a mature defense industry. Pakistan brings nuclear weapons, missiles, and a large standing army. Saudi Arabia brings money, energy leverage, and influence across the Islamic world. On paper, it looks formidable. But geopolitics is not fought on paper. So the real question is this: does this trilateral bloc fundamentally alter India's security calculus? In the immediate military sense, the answer is no. This is not a standing alliance with integrated command structures, joint force planning, or pre-positioned troops. It is not NATO. There is no unified doctrine, no combined headquarters, no interoperability framework comparable to Western alliances. However, dismissing it outright would be a mistake, because this bloc is not designed to fight India tomorrow. It is designed to shape perceptions, influence alignments, and complicate India's strategic environment over time. Many believe that such a triad could challenge not just India but also Israel, Armenia, and Cyprus. That assessment matters because it situates this development within a wider geopolitical pattern. Turkey's assertiveness in the Eastern Mediterranean, Pakistan's revisionism in South Asia, and Saudi Arabia's recalibration of its security partnerships. For India, the concern is not a three-front war. It is strategic convergence among actors that have overlapping grievances or ambitions vis-à-vis New Delhi and its partners. Turkey has consistently backed Pakistan on Kashmir. It has criticized India at international forums and aligned with Islamabad's narrative. Pakistan, for its part, sees Turkey as both a military supplier and a political amplifier. Saudi Arabia, while cautious, has signaled that its strategic autonomy now includes defense diversification.
We are pleased with the ceasefire achieved following the tensions last April between Pakistan and India, the tension which had escalated into a conflict. It is important to see a cooperation between the two countries when it comes to counterterrorism. The issue of Kashmir should be resolved on the basis of resolutions of the UN for the best for our brothers and sisters in Kashmir through dialogue, we hope.
Yet, India is not isolated in this equation. Far from it. Even as Turkey deepens ties with Pakistan, India's own strategic partnerships are consolidating, quietly, steadily, and with far more depth. India's defense relationship with Israel is a case in point. It is not transactional, it is structural. India is Israel's largest defense customer, accounting for over a third of its arms exports between 2020 and 2024. From missiles and radars to drones and electronic warfare systems, the partnership spans every major domain. India and Israel jointly developed the Barak 8 medium-range surface-to-air missile. Indian forces operate Israeli UAVs, Heron, Searcher, and are upgrading them under Project Cheetah with full technology transfer. Israeli systems supported India during Kargil, Balakot, and Operation Sindoor. More importantly, Israel has been willing to share advanced technologies that others hesitate to transfer, from missile defense to electronic warfare. This is not just about buying weapons. It is about co-development, co-production, and building indigenous capability. Then there is India's growing alignment with Greece and Cyprus, countries that see Turkey's assertiveness as a direct threat. India's naval presence in the Mediterranean has increased. Strategic dialogues have deepened. These are not symbolic gestures, they are signals. Add to this the I2U2 framework, India, Israel, the UAE and the United States, a grouping that focuses on economic and technological cooperation but has clear strategic undertones. Even as the US recalibrates its global role, India is anchoring itself within multiple overlapping partnerships. So where does that leave the so-called Muslim NATO? It leaves it as a work in progress, significant but not decisive, more a hedge than a hammer, more about signaling autonomy than preparing for collective war. Turkey itself remains a NATO member. That contradiction matters. Ankara cannot simultaneously benefit from NATO security guarantees and fully commit to an anti-Western or anti-India bloc without consequences. Its economy remains linked to Europe. Its defense industry relies on Western components. Its strategic maneuvering has limits. Saudi Arabia too is cautious. It is resetting ties with Iran, engaging China, maintaining channels with the US, and keeping India close. It is hedging, not choosing sides. And Pakistan, despite its ambitions, remains economically fragile and diplomatically constrained. Alliances do not erase structural weaknesses. That said, this emerging alignment does tell us something important. The old assumptions are breaking down. Regional powers no longer trust distant guarantors. They're building overlapping, flexible security frameworks that stop short of formal alliances but still alter strategic equations. For India, the correct response is neither alarm nor complacency. It is clarity. Clarity that Turkey is no longer a neutral actor in South Asia. Clarity that Pakistan is seeking new patrons and partners to offset India's rise. Clarity that Saudi Arabia is diversifying its security options in a post-American Middle East or West Asia. And clarity that India's own strategy, diversified partnerships, indigenous defense production, intelligence capability, and diplomatic reach is more relevant than ever. If Turkey formally joins the pact, it will matter. It will warrant closer monitoring, stronger counter-alignments, and sharper diplomacy. But it will not overturn the balance of power overnight. Alliances are not measured by announcements, they're measured by cohesion under pressure. And this trilateral arrangement has yet to face that test. What India must do is continue doing what it has done best in recent years: build quietly, partner selectively, and prepare without provoking. In a world where blocs are forming and dissolving simultaneously, flexibility is strength. Turkey may be exploring new axes. Pakistan may be amplifying old narratives. Saudi Arabia may be hedging its bets, but India is not standing still. Because in geopolitics, the most dangerous mistake is not underestimating your adversaries, it is misunderstanding yourself. This is not the emergence of a Muslim NATO. It is the emergence of a more fluid, uncertain security landscape. And India, more than most, understands how to navigate uncertainty, not with noise, but with preparation. Thank you for watching Statecraft.